Today we want to talk about something that almost nobody in crypto talks about but absolutely should. Not price, not hype, not charts. We're talking about smart contracts, and more specifically, what happens when smart contracts become too complicated for their own good. Smart contracts were supposed to be simple. They were meant to replace trust with code. They were meant to give us systems that enforce rules automatically without middlemen, without permission, and without compromise. But somewhere along the way, that simplicity disappeared. Modern blockchains became stacked with layers, governance tokens, validators, rollups, sequencers, proxy upgrades, multi-sigs, and dependency chains that most users and even most developers can't fully audit anywhere. They promise power, but they demand trust. And that raises a quiet question that few people are asking. Is there a cleaner way to do programmable finance? Radiant answers that question, not by adding more complexity, but by removing it. Let's talk about what makes Radiant different. On most smart contract platforms, contracts are stateful. They live on-chain as programs that store memory, track variables, and modify global state. Every time a contract runs, that global state changes, and the network has to remember all of it forever. That makes these systems powerful, but it also makes them fragile. They're harder to audit, easier to exploit, and far more dependent on upgrade mechanisms, admin keys, and governance intervention. Radiant takes a completely different approach. Radiant's smart contracts are stateless. They don't store global memory, they don't mutate shared variables, they don't live on-chain as persistent programs. Instead, every contract exists only inside the transaction that uses it. All the logic and data needed for the execution are embedded directly in the transaction itself. Once that transaction's spent, the contract is done. No lingering state, no hidden memory, no invisible logic waiting to be changed later. Every contract executes once, in full view of the network, the same way, for everyone, forever. And here's the most important part. That doesn't make Radiant weaker, it makes it stronger, because stateless design eliminates entire categories of risk. There's no need for re-entrancy loops, no hidden state transitions, no admin upgrades that rewrite logic after deployment, and no governance votes that silently mutate contract behavior. Radiant contracts are deterministic, which means that if the transaction's valid, the result is guaranteed, no matter who runs it, when they run it, or where they run it. That predictability is powerful, and it's rare. Radiant didn't choose this architecture by accident. It's a deliberate extension of Bitcoin's UTX model, the same foundation that made Bitcoin resilient, transparent, and unstoppable. But Radiant takes it further. Its scripting system is Turing complete. It uses cryptographic commitments, induction proofs, and specialized opcodes to enable complex logic without sacrificing minimalism. There's no staking, no slashing, no validator governance, and no privileged execution roles. You define the rules, the blockchain enforces them. That's it. Now, let's talk about what you can actually build with this system. Radiant supports both fungible and non-fungible tokens natively. You can mint provably scarce digital assets directly on-chain, you can embed metadata, reference IPFS files, establish ownership hierarchies, and enforce supply rules, all without off-chain validators or bridge contracts. With a little creativity, you can even emulate account-like behavior using cryptographic relationships between transactions. This makes it possible to build payment systems, unlockable content, digital certificates, gated access tools, and identity-linked assets entirely on Layer 1. And here's the key difference. None of this requires trusting a sequencer. None of it depends on a DAO vote. None of it can be silently changed after deployment. Your contract means exactly what it says, forever. That level of permanence is rare, and in a world where upgrades can rewrite history, permanence matters, because today's blockchain stacks are becoming taller, but not necessarily stronger. Every added layer introduces another dependency, another permission point, another potential failure. Radiant takes the opposite approach. Fewer moving parts, fewer assumptions, fewer things can break. This makes it easier to reason about, and far more resistant to both technical failure and human manipulation. Radiant doesn't try to impress you with buzzwords. It doesn't chase complexity to prove capability. It doesn't promise the world. Its stateless smart contract model is quiet, but it's powerful. And more importantly, it's honest. You can audit it, you can verify it, you can trust it. Not because someone said so, but because the code itself leaves no room for interpretation. And that's what makes Radiant different. It doesn't just offer programmability, it offers clarity, it offers permanence, it offers a system that behaves exactly as written and nothing more. In a world of layered stacks, token incentives, and hidden control points, Radiant reminds us what blockchains were supposed to be: transparent, deterministic, and accessible to everyone. Because sometimes the most powerful design choice isn't what you add, it's what you choose to leave out, and Radiant proves that minimalism isn't weakness, it's strength refined.